You know that feeling when you start a game and next thing you know, 3 hours have disappeared like magic? We have all been there, and that's what we're talking about today with the top 25 addictive video games you must try. These games are the ones that'll glue you to the screen with just one more mission energy. Anyway, we've got a lot of fun and exciting games to talk about here. So let's get started off with number 25, we have Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Over the last several years, there have been many Marvel and DC Comics titles. Some of them have been amazing, and some of them haven't. And this game is Square Enix's take on the popular superhero movie Guardians of the Galaxy. Thankfully, it was one of the better games on the roster. In the game, you'll play as Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, and with the rest of the Guardians at your back. And the gameplay is so fun that you can tag team fights with other Guardians via combo moves, make key choices in the story, listen to a lot of great music, and more. People love this game because of its gorgeous graphics, balanced gameplay, and the sense of humor that made the movies famous. This is the game that Marvel's Avengers should have tried to be. Focused, fun, and an exploration of the Marvel Universe as a whole. Next, over at number 24, we have Just Cause 3. Just Cause is a series that is highly underrated to this day. Not many players have heard about this franchise. And even if they have heard about it, it's much less that they actually played the game. Released back in 2015, this game is the third in the Just Cause series and set 6 years after its predecessor. Just Cause 3 is all about exploring the giant world of Medici, blowing stuff up and then doing it again. The one word I can use to describe this game is fun. Players can use tools to travel around the island such as a wingsuit, parachute, and a grappling hook, which makes traversing the island alone so much fun. And there are tons of weapons that you can use to blow things up like rocket and grenade launchers, machine guns, shotguns, and more. You can also upgrade and equip your wingsuit with a jetpack, rockets, and machine guns. With lots of fun things to do, I think that this game deserves more attention from gamers. Moving on to number 23, we have Devil May Cry 5. One of the pioneering 3D hack-and-slash titles spun off from Resident Evil, Devil May Cry exploded onto the scene back in 2001. Developed by Capcom, this is the 6th installment in the franchise and the 5th game in the mainline Devil May Cry series. It's a hugely fast-paced title with tons of hack-and-slash action and incredibly witty writing. Fans were annoyed when the series pivoted to a reboot in Devil May Cry, and this one represents a return to the original canon of the games. Game director Hideaki Itsuno created Devil May Cry 5 with the hopes of creating his career's best work. They recently announced that the game had sold 5 million copies, and it's easy to see why. And the quality of this game is making it something every gamer should definitely check out. Let's move on to number 22 and talk about Far Cry 3. This third game in the series is often seen as the best one, and for good reason. It came out back in 2012 and got a lot of love for its open-world feel, unforgettable characters, and really immersive gameplay. Sure, other games in the series kept a lot of those same features, but Far Cry 3 has its own special vibe. A lot of that comes down to the main character, Jason Brody, and of course the standout villain, Vas Montenegro, who pretty much stole the show. However, this game really set the bar for open-world FPS games. It also introduced features that have stuck with the series ever since, like the skill tree system, stealth options, and the freedom to tackle missions however you want. Anyway, if you're after a game with a great story, solid shooting mechanics, and lots to explore, this game is definitely worth playing. And down at number 21, we have Persona 5 Royal. Persona 5 was already seen as one of the best modern JRPGs, but its reputation only got better with the release of Royal. It added an extra semester and a new palace to a game that was already packed with amazing content. You'll play as a student called Joker, the leader of a group called the Phantom Thieves. The relationship building in this game is the best in the genre, and the graphics, sound, and combat are just as fantastic. You can even start a romance with some of the people you meet if you want. It's the ultimate version of Persona 5 and the high point of the series so far. It was originally released exclusively on the PS3 and is now available on the PS5. Next over at number 20, we have Yakuza series. The Yakuza series drops you right into the middle of Tokyo's underworld, where gangsters are all about taking control of the streets. Each game is packed with incredibly detailed locations, and the combat mechanics are deep and super fun. You'll spend tons of time doing different missions, working for the gang, and helping out random people you meet along the way. You can get lost in the side stories too, from mini-games to just exploring the city's vibrant streets. It's all about soaking in the world and its characters while kicking butt. Anyway, this series is the perfect blend of action, exploration, intense fights, and a story that keeps you coming back for more. Next over at number 19, we have Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection. The Uncharted franchise is a massive one for Sony. Since the PlayStation 3, fans have been enjoying this franchise, and this series is by far one of the best collections of action-adventure games around. And the recently released Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection brings the two PS4 Uncharted games to the PS5 and PC in this remastered collection. The collection contains Uncharted 4 and Uncharted: The Lost Legacy in one package. The Legacy of Thieves collection was heralded as a perfect example of what a remastered collection should be. The best part is that anyone who already owns either of those games can get the upgraded collection for just $10. Both games bring story, gameplay, and intensity to the mix, so you won't lose by buying and enjoying these games. Moving on to number 18, we have Max Payne 3. Originally launched on the PlayStation 3, Max Payne 3 is the third chapter in the series, and it's perfect for anyone who loves a good action-packed shooter. This time around, we catch up with Max 9 years after the events of the second game. What really makes Max Payne 3 shine is how incredible it looks and sounds. However, Rockstar absolutely nailed the atmosphere. The environments are super realistic, the sound design is top-notch, and the soundtrack fits the mood perfectly. And the gunfights are intense, like way over the top in the best way, with bullets flying everywhere like something out of a John Woo film. And sure, some parts of the gameplay might feel a little old school now, but it still holds up as a strong, stylish addition to the Max Payne series. And next at number 17 is a Plague Tale series. The predecessor of the recently released A Plague Tale Requiem was an absolute dream of a game, and it walked so the sequel could run. This series tells the story of Amicia and Hugo. The game is set in 14th century France, and everything is taken over by the Black Death. Players will go on a journey that includes stealth, survival, puzzle solving, and a little bit of combat. These games also look fantastic, and with its eerie and mysterious atmosphere, there is not another game on the market that expresses 14th century France quite as this does. There is no wonder that the first game was up for so many Game of the Year awards in 2019, and the sequel is even better. And down at number 15, we have The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. The Legend of Zelda is a franchise we probably don't need to explain. The incredibly popular series has been around since the Nintendo and continues to thrive today. When it comes to big titles, few can match up to Tears of the Kingdom, and for numerous reasons. With new areas to explore and a new take on a familiar foe to defeat. Once again, Link will have numerous weapons he can pick up on the go to fight off hordes of monsters. Now you can turn arrows into bombs or use certain jellies to freeze enemies solid, and that's just the beginning of the possibilities in this game. You can also build all sorts of vehicles and items within the game, including ones that medieval people likely wish they could have made in their time. If you're going into this game to enjoy the action, you'll have plenty to satisfy you. Let's move on to number 16 and talk about God of War. This game was a total game changer in the action-adventure genre and won the 2018 Game of the Year title. It took the God of War series to a whole new level. You follow the journey of Kratos, the legendary Spartan warrior, as he explores this big world with his son. The game has amazing visuals and a deeply emotional story that explores themes of fatherhood and redemption. And my favorite part is using Kratos' main weapon, Leviathan Axe. You can throw it at enemies and magically summoned back to hand. The battle system is pure gold with some of the coolest and most brutal action you'll ever see in a game. Anyway, if you're a fan of action-packed gameplay and gripping storytelling, you won't want to miss out on this game. Next, over at number 14, we have Hi-Fi Rush. This was the game from Tango Gameworks that Shadow dropped earlier in 2023, and many were stunned by how fun and fresh it was compared to everything around it. The game puts you as a kid who goes in for an experiment and accidentally has his heart replaced with a music player. At first, Hi-Fi Rush might not seem like a hack-and-slash-title. After all, you're using a rhythm combat system to defeat foes. It's a rhythm action title, and you'll want to be right on cue so you can deliver the most damage. And no matter your feelings on the combat, I think that you'll find something special here. This game has much to offer with its looks, sounds, and combat, so don't be afraid to try it out. Moving on to number 13, we have Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Another great title from the makers of the Dark Souls series and Bloodborne, Sekiro is also a game that tests your patience if you are not determined. While you can't create your own character or participate in multiplayer content, there are still a lot of aspects to this game that relate it to its Souls partners. In the game, you play as a shinobi known as Wolf, and the gameplay is focused heavily on stealth, exploration, and combat. As with most From Software games, boss battles are a huge part of this game as well. It seems like most fans will find this game a bit easier to manage than some of the past Souls games, which may open this game up to some newcomers that might have found the Souls franchise just a bit too difficult to manage. And next at number 12 is Mass Effect Legendary Edition. As video game franchises go, Mass Effect is still up there with the best of the best. The original game is one of the third-person shooters that defined the genre on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 back in the day. This classic series first launched in 2007 with the original Mass Effect game. And the Remastered collection includes the entire trilogy, with upgraded graphics that have been completely reworked for modern consoles. Now, instead of having different versions, the new Legendary Edition lets you play all the games in the way you like. The collection also has all the extra content that was released for each of the 3 games over the years. So if for some strange reason you didn't catch BioWare's Space Trilogy, now's the best time to jump in. Let's move on to number 11 and talk about Ori series. Easily one of the most impactful indie games in recent years, Ori and the Blind Forest is a masterpiece tale that all will enjoy when they play it. We bet many of you have already played this game, and its sequel Ori and the Will of the Wisp showed that you could take one of those surprising games and make it even better. If you didn't know, both games are platform adventure games with Metroidvania features where you control a cute little spirit creature. And they balances everything really well and offers amazing visuals and sound that you have to see and hear for yourself. We don't want to spoil too much, so if you have yet to give this series a try, this is the time to do so. And down at number 10, we have Days Gone. Former PlayStation exclusive Days Gone made the leap over to PC in early 2021, following in the footsteps of Horizon Zero Dawn. This game doesn't get as much love as Horizon, but a big part of that is due to its slow burn of an opening. It takes Days Gone many hours to really kick it into high gear, and some people burn out in the opening act. But if you stick with it, there's plenty to enjoy in this gritty, post-apocalyptic open world. If you focus on the main story, you'll finish in about 50 hours. But How Long to Beat says it can take up to 100 hours if you explore everything and go after all the extras. Even if the story doesn't connect with everyone, players can still enjoy riding their bike through a stunning world while dodging zombie hordes. Next, over at number 9, we have Control. Remedy Entertainment is famous for the Alan Wake and Max Payne series. But their latest game, Control, also impressed players and turned out to be a big surprise. Control has a fascinating story that often makes you think and encouraging you to pay attention to everything around you. The game combines great movement, awesome powers, and fun gunplay in a balanced way. The world is also beautifully designed with tight maps and plenty of neat details. And there are many references to the Alan Wake series, so fans of the franchise will definitely enjoy Control. Moving on to number 8, we have Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Nearly 10 years have passed since the original launch of this game, and it was the last installment of our beloved franchise Metal Gear Solid. Phantom Pain is still a masterpiece when it comes to stealth gameplay and storytelling. This Metal Gear Solid game gives you 2 big, open-world maps to really do whatever you want. This game has a mind-blowing amount of guns and tools. You can also customize them with different equipment to suit your playstyle. And when it comes to stealth, there are so many options here, even more than Snake Eater, and they're so fun to play around with. It's also easily the biggest entry in the Metal Gear franchise, and you can easily spend dozens of hours sneaking behind enemy lines and listening to Cold War chart-topping hits. I know this game has a few flaws and a slightly unfinished atmosphere, but it's totally worth checking out. Now, next, over at number 7, we have Dying Light. Another Techland creation that used Dead Island for its foundations, Dying Light built on them with expertise and a sprinkle of individuality. When this game came out, it tried to blend 2 things together with relatively good success: zombies and parkour. This was a revolutionary game that became one of the great open-world journeys, and its weapon customization was a big hit as well. You're set in a city that is overrun with zombies. You have a mission from your superiors to do certain things within the city, and how you do those things at times is up to you, which includes using your incredible parkour skills to leap, bound, and climb just about everything in the city. Combat has been changed from the melee focus in Dead Island towards more gunplay, giving players a true action-adventure experience. The parkour is what the series is now known for, and oddly, the original hits a benchmark that the sequel couldn't quite reach. They're both fantastic, but the original has a little something special. And down at number 6, we have Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The ultimate sci-fi movie series for me has always been Star Wars. And when an action-adventure game lets me live out my Jedi dream and swing a lightsaber, how can I say no? This title was made by Respawn, who made the excellent and criminally underrated Titanfall 2. When it comes to Star Wars games, they often either hit the mark or miss entirely. Thankfully, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is definitely a hit. The game has easy modes for players who just want to enjoy the story, but it also has challenges for those who want them. And the game also encourages exploring and going back to different planets. With fun gameplay and a good storyline, I think that this game really deserves a playthrough. And next at number 5 is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The Assassin's Creed games started off red hot, then kind of stumbled and then made a big comeback with Assassin's Creed Odyssey in 2018. This game is often seen as one of the best in the series, building on what Origins introduced and adding even more features. And the world is much bigger, there are more quests to complete, and the combat is more action-focused. You can also choose to play as either a male or female character, with the main story taking around 50 hours to finish. And if you aim to complete everything in this massive open world, it can take around like 150 hours. Odyssey raised the bar for the series, and even its sequel didn't quite reach the same level. While there isn't a PS5 version, the PS4 game works perfectly on the newer console, and it still looks pretty good. Let's move on to number 4 and talk about Ghost of Tsushima. While Sucker Punch Studios briefly disappeared after the release of infamous Second Son and infamous First Light, they came back with a bang when they released Ghost of Tsushima. And they managed to create a game with the most smooth and satisfying samurai combat known to man in 2020. This game is set in a gorgeous world based on a real area of Japan, and players are tasked with taking on the invading Mongols as one of the last samurai. There are specific titles that come around that blow people away with the incredible detail that is put into them. Ghost of Tsushima is absolutely one of those titles. Many consider this as one of the best games ever, so make sure to check it out. Moving on to number 3, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake. In 2020, Square Enix unveiled Final Fantasy VII Remake. This game is a remake of the popular 1997 PlayStation game Final Fantasy VII. The game has everything RPG fans will enjoy. If you played the first game, you know exactly what to expect, and why this game stands out from the pack. Not only does it have a deep and robust free-flow RPG combat system mixed with turn-based elements, but it also has a vast world to explore and plenty to do in it. Like many good RPGs of recent times, you can build up relationships with your comrades in arms and see where that takes you. However, Final Fantasy VII Remake doesn't cover the entire story of the original game. It is the first in a planned trilogy of games, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the second one, so don't miss out on these incredible experiences. Now next over at number 2, we have Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered. This game builds very much off of the Batman Arkham series in terms of how it handles its action and adventure elements. You'll be put into a deep story as Spider-Man has to save the city from a new threat, the demons led by the Mr. Negative. But this is only touching the tip of the iceberg, one that'll bring many classic Spider-Man characters into the fold. Anyway, this is easily one of the best Spider-Man stories ever told. Between the intense boss fights, super satisfying web-slinging, top-tier voice acting, and a fully explorable New York City, you'll have plenty to do. So jump into the game for yourself and see just how fun this game is to play. Finally, at number 1, we have The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This is a title that surely doesn't need an introduction after all. CD Projekt Red may have been put through the ringer recently, but there's one thing that they can be praised for: the worlds they've created in the Witcher games. The first game was a quiet hit on PC, and the second game made its way to 7th generation consoles, but it was this third title that really blew up. The game was released back in 2015 and kept getting better with time as CD Projekt Red added a number of DLC packs and a free next-gen update for the game. It is widely acknowledged as being a masterpiece of gaming, and the popularity of the game inspired the Netflix series of the same name. This game is arguably one of the best and most successful open-world RPGs in existence. Personally, The Witcher 3 is one of the games on this list that I highly recommend, and this game is absolutely worth your money. Besides the games I talked about in this video, there are a few more games I'd like to recommend. These games are quite popular, but just in case you haven't heard of them, which I highly doubt. They are Red Dead Redemption 2, Cyberpunk 2077, Horizon Forbidden West, Elden Ring, and last we have Grand Theft Auto 5. Of course, there are so many other games, though, that we couldn't squeeze on this list. So I'd love to hear your choices down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next video.